What up, everybody? Welcome back. You're listening to the Introverted Nerd Watches. I am your host, Reese, and it's Throwback Thursday, so it's time for Saved by the Bell. And you guys, we have made it to the Malibu Sands episodes. Oh my God, I'm so excited. For the next, 6 Thursdays, we will be talking about the Malibu Sands Beach Club. We will be all about that shit. So I am excited because this week I watched season 4, episode 2 of Saved by the Bell, Zack's birthday party. Oh, you don't know how happy I am to get here. I'm so excited. I love the Malibu Sands Beach Club. I love everything about them. They are so awesomely bad that it's great. I love it. Oh, I'm so excited. So, before I just lose my mind, you need to subscribe to the podcast because you want to be the first person or one of the first people to get these episodes as soon as I put them out. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Google Play, on Stitcher. I'm on Spotify and iHeartRadio. I am everywhere. So subscribe. Leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You can also leave me a review on Stitcher. And I don't know if you can do that on Google Play, but Google Play is like, I don't know what they're doing over there, but things are going to change soon, but whatever. That doesn't matter. It's all about me right now. So subscribe, 5-star reviews, and, it'll be fun. This is all a whole lot of fun. So let's get into Zack's birthday party because the entire gang, minus Lisa, is working at the Malibu Sands Beach Club. And Lisa is not working there because my girl is too good for that. She is a member. Her parents are both surgeons. We find that out in this episode. We knew her mom was a surgeon, but we find out in this episode that her dad is also a surgeon. We meet Leon Carosi. He's the owner of the Malibu Sands Beach Club. He's owned it for the last, 15 years. We get a whole backstory about them. I love it. So Mr. Carosi is giving all of the new hires, all of these new teenagers to work who are working at his, I don't get the whole beach club thing, first of all, because I've never, I'm not a rich, I'm a poor like Kelly. So I've never been to a beach club. I don't know, do these things really exist? Like a beach club? Especially in California. Would you need a beach club in California? Everybody, you could just go to the beach. You wouldn't need a beach club. I don't know. I don't get it. But he's giving them the rundown about how I don't know what he's giving them the rundown on because he doesn't know what their jobs are. Like every time somebody speaks, he's like, hey, what do you do? It's like, dude, you hired them, right? I mean, you're the boss here, I assume, and we don't see anybody else, like any other adults that could be running this place. So I assume Mr. Carosi hired all of these people and he doesn't know what they do. Like Zack speaks up to say something and he's like, hey, what do you do? He's like, well, I'm your head waiter. It's like, Mr. Carosi, you didn't know that? I love Mr. Carosi. He's our Mr. Belding for the summer. And he's a lot, like, I give Mr. Belding a lot of shit, but Mr. Carosi, he's like terrible. He's awful. Mr. Belding, like, is like a great, like, well, he's just a better person than Mr. Carosi. So he tells Zack that Zack can be like the new entertainment director or the communications director, whatever it is. He takes Zack off of waiting and he makes him, the communications director, and it's a job that doesn't tip. So basically he's just walking around talking to all the guests, but he's not going to be making any money. So Zach gets fucked over like immediately. And it's his own fault because he could have just shut up. That's my whole thing about Zach in this entire episode. My dude, shutting up is faux free. You don't have to say anything. Like, your commentary isn't required, Zachary. You could just shut up. You'll be in such a better place for, you wouldn't have to do some of the things that you do if you just shut up. So he makes Jesse the person that answers the phone at the front desk because she started talking. And then he calls Kelly. He sees Kelly in her swimsuit and her lifeguard uniform. Well, it's not really a uniform. It's a green swimsuit and a green jacket. So, we can call that a uniform because Kelly and Slater are lifeguards for the summer. Mr. Carosi didn't realize he hired a girl to be a lifeguard, and he says that to Kelly's face. And then when Slater tries to stick up for her, like, hey, Kelly is a really good swimmer, she's going to be a good lifeguard, Mr. Carosi calls him like a meathead or something like that. I'm like, my God, you're talking to children. Like, can you treat children this way? I mean, obviously Mr. Carosi didn't care, but it's like, really, my guy? And then he calls Kelly a shrimp. He tells Kelly, well, we usually leave the shrimp for the shrimp cocktail. And it's like, and that's when Jesse like stands up. Feminism, like, put your hands up, everybody. Feminism. Jesse stands up for her, but he calls her a shrimp to her face. He calls Kelly a shrimp to her face. This is the first time he's meeting any of these people. And Mr. Carosi don't give a shit. He is just, this New Jersey / New York guy. I don't know. I don't know which part of the East Coast he's from, but he's definitely like a New Jersey, like New York guy. Why isn't his beach club in New Jersey? That's what I want to know. Like, that would be like, it would make more sense. Like, what's Mr. Carosi doing in California? He doesn't seem like the type of guy. But I guess anybody would want to live in California if you get the nice weather or whatever. Whatever. I'm thinking too much about Mr. Carosi. I have a lot of questions about Mr. Carosi's backstory, like why they're in California. Stacy, I got questions about a lot of things that will never get answers, but whatever. So Zack Morris asks Mr. Carosi if he can have the day off for his birthday. Zachary Andrew Morris, what were you thinking? Zack has the balls to say to Mr. Carosi, hey, my birthday is coming up on Saturday. Would it be okay if I have if I take off work a little bit early? Like, instead of 8:00, can I leave at 4:00? Like, what? Really, Zack? It's the first day. You haven't even done anything yet. You have not done 1 second of your actual job yet. But you're asking for time off? Like, you're asking to leave work early because it's your birthday. Like, really, I don't know what world Zack lives in, but he obviously lives in a world where he thought that it would be okay to ask his boss, who he already sees as a dick. He thought it would be okay to ask that guy if he could take a half a day for his birthday. Oh, Zack. And then he gets mad when Mr. Carosi is like, yeah, you can have it half a day. Just if you take that half a day, don't bother coming back because you'll be fired. And Zack gets a look on his face like he's shocked that Mr. Carosi turned him down. I know what the problem is. Zack Morris is used to that Bayside life where he can just walk into Mr. Kurosi's not Mr. Kurosi, where he could just walk into Mr. Belding's office. He's basically sharing an office with Mr. Belding at this point. He can do whatever the fuck he wants around Bayside. And now he's here at the Malibu Sands Beach Club, and things just don't work that way. Mr. Kurosi will look Zack in the eye and say, not here, my guy. You get back to work. So, me and Mr. Kurosi, I'm like cool with Mr. Kurosi like right now. Like he was a dick to Kelly. He's a sexist dick to Kelly. But then he treats Zack like shit. So I'm like, is he that bad? You gotta weigh. You gotta weigh it. Like, sexism or treating Zack like shit. So, and I fall on the treating Zack like shit side. I'm okay with that. Like, I can excuse the sexism if he treats Zack like shit. So, Zack gets mad, and we see all through the episode, Mr. Kurosi, he's the worst kind of suck up because he kisses the asses of all of his guests, but they're also annoyed by him, which is kind of great. So he walks up to women, and he's like, to one woman, and he's like trying to spin her around the floor, like looking at her, and she's like rolling her eyes, which is so great. Like this doesn't like mean anything. It's just you can see who Mr. Kurosi is. I really love seeing him. Like he's like really over the top with his compliments of the guests. So Kelly is still getting treated like shit by Mr. Kurosi because some like club member dude is like flirting with Kelly. He asks her what he has to do to get mouth to mouth, and she says drown. So, one for Kelly. I like her in this episode. And Mr. Kurosi sees the guy flirting with Kelly. He walks up to Kelly and says, "Hey, Kelly, no flirting with the guests." I'm like, really? Oh my God. Mr. Kurosi, see, I was on his side for like 2 seconds, and then the next minute, I'm like, I have to jump right off of it because he's treating Kelly like shit. So with Zack's birthday coming up, Lisa, Jesse, Kelly, and Slater want to throw him a surprise party. And Kelly and Jesse are staying with Lisa for the summer. I don't understand this. So where are Screech, Slater, and Zack staying? Because at first I was thinking, well, maybe there's maybe they're staying at the beach club, but that seems weird because I'm like, because I was thinking of it like, I was actually thinking of the Malibu Sands Beach Club like it was a summer camp, but it's not a summer camp. Like, full disclosure, I've never been to summer camp either. I was that kid. I never went to summer camp. I spent all my summers, and either I was at home, like with everybody else on my street, like playing outside until I got like too old for that. And then I was in the house watching TV. But I spent my summers either in the Poconos, like in a cabin in the Poconos, with family friends, or in a trailer park. And it's not as like trashy as you would think. It's like a nice trailer park. It has my aunt and uncle owned a trailer, and we went to the trailer park every summer, and it had like a lake, and it was like summer camp without the restrictions of an actual summer camp. But anyway, I was thinking of the Malibu Sands Beach Club like it was summer camp, because I was thinking like maybe the boys are staying like in the bunks at the Malibu Sands Beach Club. But then I was like, no, Lisa's parents have a vacation home here. I don't understand, like, where is I was about to say where is the Malibu Sands Beach Club, but dumbass, it's in Malibu. So where do these kids live in relation to Malibu that they have to stay that they all have to stay there? Like, I don't know. Whatever. This is there's no answers for this. So this is just me going around on it in my head for the last 20 years. There's no answers to any of this. I will never get an answer to this. So let me just keep it moving. So Jesse and Kelly are staying with Lisa for the summer. And they're throwing Zack's surprise party at Lisa's house. And but in the end, they can't throw it at Lisa's house because Lisa's parents are coming for the weekends and they're throwing a party because Lisa's entire family have like really busy social lives. So they're overbooked for the party. And these dumbasses decide that the smart thing to do would be, since we can't throw the surprise party at Lisa's house, we'll sneak into the beach club that we just started working at, and we'll throw Zack's party there after hours. These people are some of the dumbest people. It's ridiculous. So, while they're doing that, Zack thinks Mr. Carosi is like a pain in the ass. He's not making any tips, and he sees Screech making a ton of money. And then he tells Jesse on his very first day of work, he walks up to Jesse, and Jesse's sitting at the front desk, and he's telling her, like, Mr. Carosi is a pain. I probably shouldn't even work here this summer. It's like, really, Zack? You get turned down for your birthday day off, and all of a sudden it's like, I shouldn't work here for the entire summer. Zack is just not used to it. I kind of love it. He's not used to this. He's used to everybody just falling at his feet. So he sees a woman walk past and he's like, oh, maybe I spoke too soon. And Zack, if you didn't know Zack had a type before, you know it now. He has Kelly. He has the school nurse who's like Kelly's mother, or could have been Kelly's mother. He has the chick Danielle from a few episodes ago. And now we have Stacey Carosi, Leah Remini, if you're nasty. I kind of love Leah Remini. Like present day Leah Remini. She's like out of Scientology and she's not taking their bullshit anymore, and I appreciate that. She still has the same thick ass New York accent, which I freaking love. Like, everything she does, she has to be from New York. Like, Leah Remini is not doing an accent. You will never hear Leah Remini do a summer act. You will never hear her in anything but her Brooklyn accent, which I appreciate. I love her. So she walks past and Zack is like really into her, which I don't get. Like, she's okay. Leah Remini's cute in this episode. She's like a cute woman. She's not like, if she was walking past, I wouldn't have like looked twice at her, but Zack is like all about it. And she's wearing the worst outfit. She's wearing a giant blazer. It's terrible. So she's walking. Zack is like, hey, can I help you? And she's like, yeah, I'm looking for someone. And he's like, oh, and we're all looking for someone. And sometimes we find the person we're looking for. And she has the best, like, roll her eyes, this motherfucker moment. And I was here for it. So she goes, that is so profound. And she turns away and he's like, well, who you're looking for? And she says, Leon Carosi. And Zack goes, what do you want to see that jerk for? And she goes, because he's my father. And it's like, Zack, my guy, what are you doing? How many times do I have to say, you just started working here? Like, even if she wasn't his daughter, like, even if there wasn't the switch up, like, you fucked up, you're talking to his daughter, you wouldn't say that to a regular old guest that was that was just coming into the beach club for whatever reason to see Mr. Carosi. Like, you would be like, Zack, come on, dude. Like, be better. Like, Zack just doesn't know what to do with himself over the summer. He's being like mad reckless. So, he's all embarrassed right there. And Mr. Carosi introduces Stacy, his daughter Stacy, who's from back east. She goes to school back east. This is all from Mr. Carosi. He gives the whole rundown about Stacy. She goes to school back east, and she's there for the summer to be the assistant manager to the new hires. So Mr. Carosi gives like a real rundown about what Stacy's job is going to be, her whole backstory. Like, he gives you all the information you need. So Stacy meets with them, and she's like, Stacy is not here for the bullshit. And Slater being the worst, when everybody's lined up, like, she's lining everybody up for their orientation with her. And Slater's like, great, we're working for a woman. And Stacy walks up to his face, and she's really short. I didn't realize how short she was, but she's really short. And she walks up to Slater's face, and she's like, is there a problem? And Slater's not ready for her. Like, he's been with Jesse for I don't know how long, but he's not ready for Stacy Carosi. And he's like, he tries to switch it up. He's like, oh, I'm just saying how great it is to work for a woman. And Stacy's like, don't think of it as working for a woman. Think of me as your boss, because that's what I am. And Zack has to chime in with a bad joke because he cannot read a room. And Stacy goes in on him. She goes, you know what? I'm from back east. I don't know this California dude attitude. Maybe you can explain it to me. And she is in front of everybody like, explain, is this some surfer dude lingo? Were you being awesome and gnarly? And I'm like, God damn, Stacy, take it down a notch, sis. It's like, I get it. Like, I'm always here for everybody going in on Zack, but she was just 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. She was not here for Zack's bullshit. Okay, she has a real problem with dudes from California. And not like she's aggressive with Slater, but she's extra aggressive with Zack. I think it's the blonde hair. Like, he looks like the stereotypical like surfer dude, I think, with the blonde hair and I don't know, being a white guy with blonde hair in California like triggers her. Like, he is definitely a trigger because she goes off. Like, anytime she sees him, she's like, I don't know. That's what the new investigation needs to be. That's what the next serial needs to be. Like, what the fuck California dude heard Stacy Carosi that made her hate California men so much? Because she brings it up a couple times in this episode, and it's like, girl, it wasn't even that serious. Like, I understand Zack sucks, but she is on his ass from the first second she puts on her assistant manager uniform. She is on Zack's ass. She catches Zack kind of flirting with the volleyball girls, like teaching them volleyball. And Zack, once again, not reading the room. Stacy tells him, like, hey, you're not going to be out here flirting with all the girls. This is not that kind of job. And Zack tells her, like, hey, Stacy, like, chill out. It's the summer. And Stacy, this like sets Stacy off again because she's like, what is up with you California dudes? And it's like, girl, okay, I get it. Calm down. But Zack Zack doesn't even talk like that stereotype of like the like hang 10 California dude. It's just the blonde hair. She's like blinded by that blonde hair and she can't take it. Somebody needs to help Stacy. Somebody needs to talk to her, sit her down, talk to her, ask her who hurt her. But she shuts down Zack. She shuts Zack down again, and she's like, not having it with his California dude thing. So we see Jesse, Lisa, and Kelly are living together, and Jesse is a complete slob. Like, Jesse's one of those people that when she's not at her house, she doesn't give a shit about anybody else's stuff. Like, she's in Lisa's parents' house. She's invited to stay there for free for the summer. And she's throwing all her dirty clothes all over the place, like literally just dropping them on the floor as she's talking to Kelly in the kitchen. And it's like, ew. Like, you can never have Jesse over. Jesse would treat your house like shit, and she would leave. She would be disgusting. Like, Jesse. See, I think so much less of Jesse now. Like, Jesse is no good. Like, I didn't think very highly of her before, but now she's like, And Lisa, my girl. Shout out to Lisa, who is like, girl, you better get your dirty clothes out of the bathroom. Like, basically clean up your shit. We're not having that here. Like, we don't do that in the Turtle household. You're a guest here. You clean up after yourself. And Jesse snores too. Like, that's a double strike. Because Kelly told her like she was snoring, which is why Kelly got up and started doing she jogged on the beach at like 5:00 in the morning, because Jesse is like Jesse is a snorer. So if you snore, like, you can't snore and be a slob. You got to do one or the other. Like, you're a snoring slob. You're the worst. We can't take you anywhere. So when Zack sees Screech making all the money from tips for being a waiter, he gets an idea to start selling hot dogs on the beach. And Zack must have done a lot of research, because when Mr. Carosi catches him, Mr. Carosi's like, yo, dude, you're stealing my customers from my place. You can't work at my place and then steal my customers from my restaurant too. And Zack is like, well, your property line ends right here, and I'm on the other side of your property line, which is a public beach. It's like, wow. When did Zack go there that summer knowing where the property line of the Malibu Sands Beach Club ended? Or was he like one afternoon go to, like, I don't know, the county clerk's office? Or like, where do you go to even get that kind of information? But he got it, and he manipulates Mr. Carosi into giving him the waiter job that he wants, so that he'll stop selling the hot dogs on the beach. Who buys hot dogs on the beach? I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. Like, Zack he's not on the pier or anything. He's like, he's on the beach. He has his hot dog cart on the beach in the sand. I don't know. I'm not a beach person. But I've been to the beach before, and I know I've never seen a food stand on the actual beach. I've always seen it on like a pier or something, like where you're on solid ground. But whatever. This is Zack Morris. He knows best, I guess. So Zack finally gets his waiting job. He can make that money, but his first customer is Stacy Carosi. And Stacy's sitting there. She's about to have breakfast. Zack starts out all wrong. He starts out by telling her that hey, you need to get out of here because Mr. Carosi said the employees aren't allowed to eat and the aren't allowed to eat where the customers eat. And Stacy is like, he wasn't talking about his daughter. Like, shut up, Zack. See, I feel like Zack was trying to be like a little cute with that, like, by telling her that, but it's like, you know better than that, Zack. You know that Mr. Carosi is not going to kick his own damn daughter out of the his restaurant. Like, stop it. And then Stacy is like, okay, are you going to tell me what the specials are? And Zack is starting to get frustrated. It's like, this is your first customer. Like, I feel like Stacy and her attitude would be such good training for anybody, because if you could survive Stacy Carosi, you can survive anything, as a waiter, as a server or something. So, but Zack didn't get that. Zack doesn't like her attitude. He's got his shirt untucked. He's he says the specials but he doesn't offer her water. Stacey's being kind of a hard ass, but Zack is like he's like quickly getting frustrated, and he just throws his notepad down, and he's like, you know what, forget it, and he walks out. And it's like, Zack, seriously? I get it. Stacy has an attitude. She's, not feeling your surfer dude thing, but you're also not taking the job seriously. Like, she's your boss. Zack is just really out of line in this episode. Like, I can admit that Stacy is a bit over the top. As much as I love her, I see her flaws, but Zack is like, he just cannot believe that she won't be friends with him, that she won't joke around with him, that she won't take his bullshit. So he storms off to the employee lounge, and Stacy comes in after him, and she's like, you know what? You need to get back to work. We'll forget about the way you raised your voice at me, and you need to get back to work. And Zack goes off on his whole, I was just like, whoa, Zack, you need to take a step back, because he calls Stacy a spoiled brat that is, a little princess that's playing. She would rather play, assistant manager and look her nose down at all of them than to be their friend. And it's like, yeah, she is the assistant manager. She is not your friend. Shut up, Zack. And he even, my dude even goes as far as to tell her she should get out of the employee lounge because it's for actual employees. I was clutching my pearls. I was like, oh my God, Zack, what are you even doing? Who the fuck are you to speak to Stacy Carosi that way? You started this all off by, joking with Slater about how you now have a woman boss, and now you don't understand why you started off on the wrong foot, and you don't understand why she doesn't like you. Oh my dude. And this all ends with Stacy kind of apologizing to him. Like, he storms out after telling her she needs to he tells her she shouldn't be in the employee lounge, but he leaves the room. I think he knew he fucked up. But it's like, oh my God. I was so mad when he spoke to her that way, when he called her a brat and said that she would rather be assistant manager, play at being assistant manager than be friends. It's like, yeah, that's what you do. You're the assistant manager. I wish I would go into my supervisors, one of my supervisors, and be like, when they get on my nerves, be like, hey, why are you being so hard on me? Instead of being my supervisor, you should just be my friend. First of all, I don't want to be friends with any of my supervisors, so I would never be that brazen. But just they would laugh in my face. They would fire me and then laugh at me as I walk out, and I would kind of deserve it because that's just some like weird thinking that Zack has. So the dumbasses sneak into the like after Zack does that, after he insults Stacy, he still goes with his friends to sneak into the beach club. Like he doesn't know it's a surprise party, but he knows it's after hours at the beach club. His eyes aren't he isn't blindfolded and taken back to the beach club. He's taken to the beach club and he's asking them like, hey, where are these people you were talking about? And they're all there, surprise. It's your birthday, Zack. They're really into Zack's birthday. I've never been that into a friend's birthday. Like they're so into it. They threw it at midnight so that they could celebrate Zack's birthday like immediately as soon as he turns. I'm guessing it's like 17, I think. But it's like, really? Like I don't care that much about anybody's birthday but my own. But they're really into throwing Zack his surprise party. They love the shit out of Zack. But they get caught. Like these idiots are dancing and everything, but they get caught. Mr. Carosi comes in. He's like, you know what? I caught your asses, and he blames everything on Zack, as you should. He blames everything on Zack, and but Stacy comes in at the last minute and saves their asses, and it's like, she tells Carosi that she gave them permission to be there. And when Mr. Carosi leaves, Stacy speaks to Zack, and he looks kind of like, hey, I kind of fucked up earlier. You didn't have to save me here. So he doesn't apologize, but he does say, I think he thanks her for her help. But Stacy makes the comment that the way Zack spoke to her earlier is the reason why she helped him. And it's like, really? Like you heard that like bullshit that Zack like spewed out to you, saying that you shouldn't be in the employee lounge, and you thought that it meant that you needed to help him out? Like, stop it. Stacy, you don't have to help them. Like, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, girl. You're perfect the way that you are. Stacy and Carosi. I don't know why I make up middle names for people like that, but it sounds better when you say 3 names, like instead of 2. Yeah, it always sounds better. It sounds more official. So anyway, they kind of make up cute like winks. They're going to get together later. And that's the end of the episode, you guys. I know this is kind of short, but this is a good start to our Malibu Sands adventure. I'm so happy to be here. And it's the perfect time because it's summer. Well, I don't think it's technically summer right now, but it's like almost summer. Summer starts in like a few days. Summer starts on like the 20th something of June. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the summer. Like summer for me started the last week of school. I always skip the last week of school because there was never anything else to do. So summer for me was the last week of school. That's when summer officially began for me. Like once there was no more work to do, once the grades were finally in and I knew that I passed, it was like school is over for me. So this is summer for the next 6 weeks, or including this week, it will be 6 weeks, but 5 weeks after this. And when is that? I don't know when that ends, but sometime in July, August, something like that. So we're spending the summer in Malibu Sands, you guys, Malibu Sands. So what is coming up on the podcast? Cloak and Dagger. I freaking love that show. Cloak and Dagger, the podcast should be out on Saturday. I'm recording this on Wednesday night. So yeah, the Cloak and Dagger podcast will be out on Saturday. And Fear the Walking Dead is on hiatus until sometime in August. So I don't know, maybe I'll add something else, or maybe I'll just do these two shows. Take a little break for the summer. Do 2 shows instead of 3. So you should follow me on social media. I'm everywhere. On Twitter, I'm at NerdTravertPod. I live tweet. I don't live tweet Saved by the Bell, but I do live tweet my other shows. I live tweet Fear the Walking Dead. That's gone now, but I live tweet Cloak and Dagger, and that's a whole lot of fun. That's on Thursday night. So join me on Twitter at NerdTravertPod. Or you can follow my personal account on Twitter at the Ms. Introvert. That's the MS Introvert. Use the hashtag NerdyWatch, and we can talk while we're live tweeting. So I'll see you when I'm live tweeting my Cloak and Dagger. On Instagram, I'm at the Introverted Nerd, and like the Facebook page at facebook.com/the Introverted Nerd. And I will be back on Saturday, you guys. Later.